We've traversed the tombs of Naxxramas. We've climbed every cliff on Black Rock. Now the world cries out for heroes. As a new evil rises, there will be danger. There will be doom. There will be ancient temples filled with relics, treasures, and traps. Who will answer the call?
Explorers lead, and we are in need of explorers. Adventure we seek, cross land and sea. Want to come and join us? Yes!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the SL I-League Star Series. I'm Noxious. I'll be casting the next match with me, Frodan, replacing Nimsh. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. You guys did a great job with the first series. I'm excited. Got to see some action. You know, I haven't casted Hearthstone in a setting like this in a long time, Noxious, so I'm really excited. 2016 is starting off with quite the bang.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's very taverny here. You can't see it. Earlier, there was a bagpipe guy.
Yeah, there
cool
was.
Music, so that was really
a lot
nice.
of people are drinking alcohol like they would expect in Eastern Europe.
Absolutely.
And they're enjoying it. You know, they're actually legitimately getting behind the games when really fun moments happen or big draws. Everyone's going, oh, and they're roaring and clapping. And it's really a great environment here.
We have, 3 languages in the broadcast. We've got the Russian, which is kind of the main one here in Minsk. We've got the Chinese broadcast as well, I think on the second floor happening. So we've got pretty much everybody watching this. It's nice to have the Chinese players, honestly, in the event. That's what I think is the most interesting about this new StarLadder season.
Well, yeah, we have a lot of global diversity here, not just with the traditional Western players that you see. We have Kolento, and of course, you see players like Dog, and even Nyria shows up in cast. But it's great to see the Korean player like Surrender here. It's cool to see the Asian scene continue to develop. They've caught up really quickly to the West in terms of the metagame and their strategies and execution. And I think that they're threatening to potentially go very far, even though people weren't expecting.
Absolutely.
I was watching the chat, and I'm like, who's this random Chinese player? It's like, well, he actually qualified for BlizzCon.
Absolutely, yeah,
2014.
exactly. He was in the top 16, I think, of the 2014. Yet in the West, we tend not to even know about them. The thing is, I wonder how much they know about the Western scene. From what I hear, they know a lot more about it than we know about theirs. So.
I think they're partially mad because they beat Dog. And Dog's a pretty big fan favorite of people, so they're not happy.
Over there as well, I think he's done pretty well. CN. There was a NA versus CN, which was a really big deal. That being said, guys, the next match we're going to have is Kolento versus Cipher. It's going to be the second match of the Group A. We're going to have 4 players today, total of 5 matches. They're all going to be facing off against each other. I don't really know how they're going to perform. They were both there last StarLadder.
That's right.
Cipher and Kolento were both there. So it's going to be a chance maybe for one of them to do a little bit better than they did last time. Kolento had a really tough run compared to what you kind of expect of all the past performances. But this time around, it might be a bit different. Metagame is going to be kind of renewed. So we have a little interview with Kolento to hear some of his thoughts about life in general. So enjoy that.
I don't quite remember what was in the online part, but I think I did well, if I'm not mistaken. How many players are in this tournament for now? 8? I think I just saw players, no groups. I haven't seen groups. The thing is, I don't know players I would like to see in my group, so I can't really say. I just checked groups and I know 4 names maybe. So people I don't know I want to see in my group. Is there any Chinese tournaments, players? I don't know about them, anything.
All right,
Sorry about that.
Noxious is getting a sip of water.
I was going to drink
breaks
water.
in this cast, Noxious. What do you think you're
StarLadder.
doing?
You just don't get to eat or drink.
Be cool, man. Be cool. All right, well, we got our first players interview out of the way. We also have Cipher from the United Kingdom. A lot of people really know a lot about Kolento, but here's what Cipher had to say about himself.
Well, my first group was really cutthroat. Only 2 players out of 6 advanced, and I think the top 4 players in that group were all within 1 game of each other. So at the very end, it was very tense, but I fell just short. I came 3rd, so I had to go through the last chance, and I got, very lucky at the end. Managed to go 3-0 in the last chance, qualify. There definitely is a degree of luck. In the online portion, there was 1 game against Hot Form where I played Spellslinger and I got a Blade Flurry. And that's the only card you can't play as Mage, along with Demon Fuse. And it cost me 2 damage, which cost me the game. And if I'd won that, I'd be 1 win up. I'd been tied with Dog for first in the group and advanced on, but at least I got lucky. I feel much more prepared and confident for this one. I'm very happy with my decks, and
All right, so done with the interviews. We're gonna move on to the games now. As far as the, you saw the lineups from the two players prior to this.
It was awesome, man. 6 different classes.
Six classes in a conquest format. I feel like the last time we had a very conquest-dominated, tournament scene. It was very, like 3 to 4 classes, kind of repeating themselves over and over. Right now, with the ban system, that changes a lot as well.
Yeah, we don't have to beat around the bush. About 5 to 6 months ago, the metagame was heavily figured out. Patron, Warrior, Druid, with being able to play double combo. And then the hand-lock deck was so powerful as a trio that a lot of people gravitated towards centering around it. But since TGT released, and then you saw the development of League of Explorers, we actually see a lot of diversity now. And some people really consider, the aggressive Shaman being okay to keep some of these decks honest. Or some people don't even bring Paladin Druid, like Dog. Dog said, I'm going to bring Priest and Warrior and Freeze Mage and whatever his Warlock is. These are really awesome choices of diversity that people are not really appreciating because they haven't been able to see many tournaments. But I believe this is just the beginning. I think a lot of people are going to figure out that with 4 decks and a ban, you can bring all kinds of strategies to the table.
I think really the 4 decks portion is really the big thing because there was a time where ban was not very standard, and as a result of that, you ended up with a kind of trinity of decks that was always brought no matter what. In this case, we see Kolento bringing Paladin, Rogue, Warlock, and Druid versus Cipher having 3 of the identical classes sharing the Warlock, Paladin, Druid, but Kolento's playing Rogue, where Cipher brings the Mage.
Yeah, so this is something that I was expecting more along the lines of, being able to bring the Druid and the Paladin and Warlock. And then you bring a 4th deck that's sort of the tech that has you interact with lineups very differently. In this case, Cypher's choosing a Mage. Tempo Mage has been growing in popularity a lot on Ladder. It's something that's very weird because Tempo Mage is not respected in tournament play nearly as much as Freeze Mage. Or even other variants of Mage.
Yeah, I was going to say pretty much any Mage, like whatever it is you want to play, whether it's Grinder Mage, Giants Mage, it doesn't matter. Most of it is going to be kind of a Freeze Mage thing.
But it's growing in popularity. We've seen people bring it to BlizzCon and be successful with it. Even Firebat getting very far in WCA. And now we're seeing that it's a possibility of it. However, Cipher looks like we're going to start off with Freeze Mage versus Murloc Paladin.
Kolento with the anything can happen. So we were all talking about how Secret Paladin was kind of the deck to play or to counter. As it turns out, people said, if they all want to counter Paladin with Secrets, they might be playing decks that can beat that with control decks, slow, and I'm just going to bring this and auto-win at least one of my matches.
I think people are going to be really confused because they've seen 2 Paladin decks now, and neither of them have been the Mysterious Challenger Secret Paladin, which is heavily reliant on curving out very powerfully and threatening the board to just run away with the game. But the reason why I think is because Mysterious Challenger has also been figured out on the opposing side. People know how to play very optimally against it, versus Murloc Paladin still being figured out. And this is a very interesting conversation because I actually just sat down and played about 15 to 20 games with Nyria, who's also casting in Russian right now, Murloc Paladin. And we talked so many things about matchups, and I said I can't wait because I love this deck. I've played about 50 to 60 games this season, and I feel like this deck has so much potential to threaten a Tier 1 deck in tournament play.
Yeah, it will. I mean, it's funny because people saw it as kind of the Grim Patron joke of League of Explorers, but it is a deck that you can't actually play control decks against.
Absolutely.
It's almost impossible to get enough health to stop the combo. So then that's when Lotheb makes its way back in Control Warrior. There's a lot of decks where you started cutting Lotheb because it didn't further your control agenda, and you really don't disrupt too much. But in this case, this is exactly where you want to be. And Priest with Thoughtsteal might also have a pretty good run.
So there's a few things already stick out to me. The first is that Cipher is drawing very aggressively, and he also has revealed that he's Freeze Mage up against Kolento. And when you take it into the account that it's Freeze Mage versus Murloc Paladin, and both of them are aware of each other, I believe Freeze Mage does have the edge. Yeah,
the ice blocks alone, I think, are going to stop the big combos. That's a really big issue, and you never get to whittle down the health of the mage whatsoever until the very end. So
I think what's even more important than even just stopping the combo blocks, because sometimes you don't always get the draws, but the big thing is that now that you know that's Murloc Paladin, you know that your opponent's going to be trying to burst you, and so the biggest problem is that a lot of times the Murloc Paladin can stall. They have so much heal in the deck. They have 2 antique heal bots. They have 2 lay-on hands. They even have heal from the True Silver Champion, which can't be underestimated. So what you end up doing is you end up drawing a ton of cards and making sure that Emperor Thorson lands on Ice Lance. These are like the really important moments because you need to kill him from 23, maybe even 25 health because of True Silver Champion.
Exactly. He's always above, I said, the 22, about 22 range, I think, is where you can get him down over a lot of time with pings and a bit of 2 damage minions that end up attacking repeatedly. But it's always, I think, a matter of balancing out how often you want to let him hit you in the face as well, because there's a limited amount of damage that the Paladin can do. And if it comes down to it,
it's true, but it doesn't feel that way.
It doesn't feel that way, but there is a limited amount of it, given that you have Novas and Blizzards. So Paladin doesn't want to overextend either, unless they're able to 1-2 punch.
What's really funny about this matchup, though, is that as the game progresses, you want to draw less because sometimes it does go into the fatigue stage.
Absolutely.
So you can't really even play the second lay on hands because then you're taking like 1 or 2 damage extra, and that might be the difference maker. Because you look at some of the biggest combos in Freeze Mage Arsenal, one of them stands out to me immediately is the Thalnos combination, which is 21 damage if you just drop the Blood Mage Thalnos, the Fireball, 2 Ice Lances, and a Frostbolt. That's 10 mana, but you can even cheat more now, right? As you have Emperor Thorson and let you squeeze in more. And so when you get to 23, you have to be very careful not to get any extra damage, even if something as simple as a Mad Scientist or an Acolyte attacking for 1 damage can be pretty huge.
I mean, one of the things as well that I love, from the Murloc Paladin deck is that it will force people to start taking weird things, reduce the amount, like the way they play their deck. The game plan of Freeze Mage is draw as much as I want, or as I can.
Like stall.
Which will always be that. But can you add any more stalls in that deck to account for the Murlocs?
Really.
Will you play Polymorphs to negate the anything can happen? That way they can't resurrect them, It sounds ridiculous, but it is...
It doesn't sound terribly ridiculous. It's an interesting thought. Cipher here going for a draw and ends up being in his position where if he pings, he's going to burn a card. And it's not that, the fact that burning the card here is the biggest deal, because it's a very unlikelihood that he burned Emperor Thorson. But he also has to be very cautious because he doesn't want to take too much damage. He's leaving the Murlocs onto the board. He doesn't want to burn that card, which happens to be the exact card he needed, so ends up dropping the Doomsayer, which is perfectly fine.
I mean, it also does count as a heal for 7 at least, possibly more, depending on what Kolento plays.
Which will be more than this case.
Yeah, which also lets you curve into Blizzard very nicely, so I like that.
Kolento's in this very interesting spot where he can't really draw, so does he choose to pressure the Freeze Mage as hard as he can? The pressure is built through things like True Silver Champion, and Muster for Battle, and making sure that you can kind of weave in these hero powers that allows you to have 1-1 pressure. I like the ability to just try and force your Freeze Mage to be playing stall cards.
When he doesn't want to. It's just annoying enough that they have to. And I think that's what we were highlighting when I was, the last match that we casted was there's so many 1-1s on the board that you can't let them live just because they whittle your health down. And Paladin doesn't care. They'll wait, get as much damage and value as they can out of them, and eventually force you to use cards ineffectively and then kill you.
Certainly.
So, looks like a Blizzard turn.
Yeah, Blizzard is the most mana-efficient play. You could try to do other things to get rid of the Murlocs, but you have 2 Blizzards, might as well toss it out. And then Kolento, he's still searching for an opportunity to draw into the Anything Can Happen.
He's looking for blue heals as well.
He also needs his Murlocs to die. It's a really good point. One of the things is that you can have Anything Can Happen, but if you summon a single or even 2 Murlocs, it doesn't accomplish anything. Interesting that Kolento is also considering withholding this second Muster for Battle, perhaps because he's thinking of a very common follow-up of Flame Striking. In the end, this is still a lot of pressure with the Murloc War Leader, because it's not just the threat of the 5 attack from both of these minions, but it's also if he drops another Murloc and all of a sudden bombs him for 16 damage.
Exactly.
So he'd feel like, you can just hold on to this, weave in the pressure because you don't have a guarantee, and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, what I think is interesting too is that the Freeze Mage can never use Alexstrasza offensively in an amazing manner in this matchup unless the Paladin has nothing left. And we're talking no Aldor, no Equality, no Lay on Hands, no Heal Bot. There is too much healing in the Paladin deck to just get a 1-2 punch with Alex.
Well,
it's really difficult
if you
to
have
beat.
the Emperor Thorson be able to activate on a full hand.
Yeah,
because that's actually
drop
how
Blood
you win
Mage.
this matchup.
Yeah, exactly. With the Blood Mage Thalnos.
There is this third or is it the second win condition? Yeah, the
Archmage?
alternative way is the Antonidas, where you can get so many fireballs because Paladin can't deal with the Antonidas outside of the equality unless they have a preemptive
Whoa,
board.
goodness gracious. Okay.
I mean, the Pyroblast is cool,
Yeah.
but it's still
I lay on hands.
it's still not the game-winning sequence that he's looking for. And not to mention that Cipher is coming up on an awkward turn here. Most likely he's going to be trying to just drop the Scientist, get the Ice Block, but let's say that it doesn't get the Ice Block.
He's still fine. He hasn't still. I think the fact that he hasn't seen bluegills makes him very comfortable.
That's true.
You know, you can draw for at least likely 3 to 4 turns before you're in trouble, which means if you pick up an Emperor during that time, you should be pretty happy.
Sure, sure. Now Kolento picks up Dr. Boom. That's a really big card here. Because if you're not drawing with all of your mana, or sorry, if you're not using all your mana to draw cards, you generally want to be able to loading up the board.
Yeah. I feel like right now, Kolento's choices are pretty, I want to say boring, in that they really are about, well, can I get my bluegills one day and find any fins? And in the meantime, Cipher's building up a hand very aggressively, as we've talked about, and you have to deny that, because if you don't, then you're just going to get in trouble. You can't answer Emperor without more than a heal bot.
Here's a question. Do you want to make your opponent draw to 10 and then force him to burn a card? It's very clear that you can try to deny cards with the True Silver Champion, but Dr. Boom generally seems like the better play here because you're able to put 9 damage onto the board, and you need to find some way to really threaten.
I mean, I don't mind that play at all, just because if the Freeze Mage overdraws, it's going to be pretty okay. The issue is, if he were at 9 cards or 8, then yes.
Sure.
It's a lot better. But if you make him draw 3 cards and he mills 1, then effectively you might have just, killed yourself in the process.
Sure. Love the sequencing from Kolento, by the way. He knows that there's a chance that it's Ice Barrier, so he pops it, and he really tries to go for the fact that it might be another Ice Barrier pulled out of the deck instead of an Ice Block. Now, we don't actually know what it is from our side because when it pulled from it, it doesn't show it just yet. But if that is a second Ice Barrier, that makes Cipher a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, the sequencing was perfect. I think we saw the first Ice Barrier early, though. If I'm not mistaken, it was like on turn 3.
Yeah, he played it. Oh, you see, this is the second Ice Barrier.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this could be Ice Block or Ice Barrier, but I think he played the first one from hand like a while back.
You could be right.
Yeah.
I could be mistaken then. If that's the second Ice Barrier, then that is inconsequential, and Kolento played around it for no reason. Now that said, does Cipher have an opportunity to 2-turn lethal? It's looking very unlikely.
Well, he can go on the aggressive here and force Kolento to, because there's no Murloc OTK coming out at all at any point.
Yep.
And with looking at Pyroblast and the Fireball Blood Mage with the Ice Lance, there is a chance that he picks up more burn. There's a good chance that he picks up more burn soon.
Okay, so how does Kolento choose to address the situation here?
0 mana Vigil would be a good first step, I think.
Yeah, and you know what? Something you can't. An issue that we talked about is that Acolyte got another point of damage in. Every single point will really matter past this 15 threshold that Alex Draza puts you. And Kolento does have 1 heal bot, and he does have a couple of ways to heal additionally with the True Silver Champion. But he really needs to first deal with Alex Draza, and secondly, figure out the best way to sequence things, because you want True Silver to definitely attack this turn. You also want to draw cards as well.
Yeah,
so
I feel like
there's lots of ways to play this turn.
Yeah, there's a ton of ways to make the trades. Keeping the boom bots alive would probably be a good thing as well. Not sacrificing them unnecessarily, I'd say would be perhaps better than throwing them out right now. And if you're able to get yourself some healing from True Silver.
Surely. I like this. Quality, you deny another card from the Acolyte as well. You push in. You can draw cards, I believe, off your Solemn Vigil and then drop the heal bot with a hero power. This should be the optimal way to maximize it. The only thing that I'm scared is that Kolento doesn't have enough time to play a bluegill if he draws it. Okay, so he ends up not drawing anyways, which is fine. Oh, I also like that he didn't hero power. You know, he had 2 mana, but he would have loaded up his board.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't pay attention to that.
Yeah, he decided not to use the hero power just to make sure that he had more room in case something got frozen and he had to heal again.
Certainly.
You really have to keep that in mind. Now, Cipher being at 20 health, he feels pretty comfortable. He's got another freeze. Archmage Nova is a really scary prospect if it comes out.
Archmage Nova traditionally is one way to shut down everything on the board, and Paladin has to have the second equality, which Kolento happens to have. So if that's all he can get, which is one single fireball off this Antonidas, that might be enough because he has 22. Or sorry, that might not be enough because he has 22 damage with the fireballs and the power blasts. But he needs additional damage.
Yeah, he needs to pick up something like an Emperor Thorson to hit the Frostbolt and the Ice Lances, perhaps. There's a chance that he's able to take his opponent down from a very high health total.
Okay.
But maybe not sufficient. Oh, goodness.
He takes a very aggressive stance. He's realizing that he's going to have to Pyroblast next turn and then hopefully have 2 turns to draw into the damage. But that's really optimistic if your opponent doesn't have any kind of heal.
That is very optimistic. And look at that. Bluegill comes out. This guy's just there to be resurrected by anything at any point. There's a chance that Kolento puts it out right now.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, you could also...
I don't think killing this Doomsayer is necessarily the best choice.
No, not
the only
at all.
because the thing is, in order to kill this Doomsayer, you have to...
Commit.
Actually, no, you can play the True Silver Consecrate and you can play Bluegill.
That's going to cost your entire turn.
Which is fine because you keep your board.
Consecration if you've already seen the Loot Hoarders? Probably not. There's a Scientist left, maybe another Acolyte.
I wouldn't be opposed to that play. You know, you still get to swing in with the weapon and you preserve your board.
Yeah. Is the damage more relevant is the question.
Okay, so he does go damage to the face. This is also perfectly fine. What this ends up doing is putting him on the point where anything can happen draw also is a way to threaten a lot of damage. Oh, I forgot the Boombots. The Boombots also pushing...
Yeah.
All right, it's only 3
I was going
damage.
to say 8, but it's more like 3 in this case.
And you know what?
Yeah.
If Kolento ended up going for the play that I suggested, then he would have gotten punished heavily. He would have full board, and he would have to use equality in his own face in order to kill the Antonidas, and then it would have taken more damage. So
and died. We haven't seen Aldor yet, so there's definitely... I mean, there's room for, I guess, refining this deck. The same way I think that Patron Warrior took a lot of time before it got the perfect list. However, it feels like Murloc Paladin with so many auto-includes.
Well, first the Murlocs.
Exactly, the Murlocs being 5 slots.
Those are kind of important.
Yeah, the Unifins are pretty good. You know, you need 2 slots for those as well. So you got like 23 spots open. You're going to put control cards. You need equalities, Pyro. So there's a lot of kind of auto-includes. But
here we go.
What there is to experiment with, I think, is
I was thinking
really
if he's going to Pyroblast or he's going to set up Antonidas.
No, man. Get those fireballs. Get them out.
Fireball. And this is the problem that we're talking about. Because Kolento has a second equality, he's given up his alternative way, and he also gave up his Ice Lance. So therefore, if he even picks up Antonidas, the Thorson, and the other missing pieces, he's given up his burst. And the problem is that he can't kill Kolento in 1 turn. Kolento can survive waves of damage. That's certainly what he can do because he has lots of opportunities to do that in the coming turns.
Yeah, I was under the impression Cipher would take it slow since he hadn't seen Bluegill Warriors, but he still felt really threatened by just the fact that it was, I guess, Murloc Valley.
Yeah. I also really like that Kolento killed his own card. He draws that anything can happen, realizes that he's going to be putting his opponent on Ice Block Pop next turn. And Cipher needs to draw something big. That's not too bad.
That's actually surprisingly good considering it's curving, Frostbolt, Fireball, Frostbolt. I mean, Fireball, Nova, Frostbolt is your full mana curve. You're hitting the opponent for enough damage that you can kill them with Pyroblast on the following turn if they don't heal.
I think you drop the Thanos and you just Fireball, Frostbolt, ping face.
And you just don't
bother
with Nova.
Because you have an Ice Block, so even if he pops it, you're okay. And you worry about the healing. And Kolento...
No lay on hands.
Doesn't have to lay on hands. Or he has a second heal box, so he has 3 outs there. He can't attack with the weapon, too. That's the big obvious one.
Yeah, the Frostbolt was really crucial for Cipher. Ice Lance would have done nothing to win the game immediately, but this...
That was massive.
However, is pretty much the card. So that Fireball from Archmage turned out to be pretty useful.
True, but Kolento also has drawn very average this game as well. He needs some kind of heal here.
And... That's
not it.
So
that should wrap up the first game because there's no way to avoid the Pyroblast at all. And Cipher, despite having very scary moments and not even having Emperor Thorson.
Not even needing it in this game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. He didn't need it. It would have been very nice luxury to have.
But
as well as, having the opportunity to burst, but
the aggressive
in the end, he's able to stop
was a really big deal, I think. I'm surprised Cipher played the Freeze Mage this matchup so aggressively. It was very aggressive compared to what I thought maybe Freeze Mage would take, but it's going to pay off from the looks of it. I wonder if Kolento thinks he's got a chance to
No, it's one of the things that you have to be very worried about here is your opponent putting you down to 6 health.
Yeah.
That puts you at a very uncomfortable range. If you were able to attack with their weapon, maybe, but, you know, even so, Kolento would have been a tough spot. He didn't get many of his draw cards. Remember early on, he was just stuck playing Muster for Battles and Muster for Battles. He needed to draw his Solemn Vigils, his Loot Hoarders.
Yeah,
his
Cipher, on the
Landhands.
other hand, drew a ton. And here comes the Emperor, which is going to do nothing, and down goes Kolento.
So that wraps up game 1, and that's a very explosive victory here because with Freeze Mage being discovered, its power reduces significantly.
Absolutely. Kolento knows what's coming up, and I'm pretty sure Cipher was expecting to win a match like this, let's say.
Yeah.
So it's very nice for Cipher to be able to take this out. Now, Kolento going to be replaying Murloc Paladin against the rest of Cypher's lineup. My question is, does Cypher's lineup match well against that type of deck?
It depends, man. I've seen a lot of 50-50 splits between the Murloc Paladins and the Secrets Paladin.
Yeah.
Okay, assuming Cipher is playing the Secrets.
Yeah, because we've seen nothing but Murlocs
swinging
today.
with a curveball here, but it looks like it is. He's got the 2 Secrets already in hand, indicating that it is Mysterious Challenger Paladin, and Kolento has very ambiguous cards. It could be Zoo still, though. Leaning towards it.
It looks like a Zoo,
With
but it
Haunted
could
Creeper,
be exactly,
almost
but it could
certainly.
still be some kind of Reno. Because the Creeper you just don't see in Reno a lot, at least not that often.
No turn 1 or turn 2 play from Cipher, and I wonder if that would make Kolento think he's a Murloc Paladin. It's like, well, he passed the first 2 turns.
Hero powered, how nice.
Yes. I like putting out the egg here in anticipation of a Knife Juggler.
I mean, I have to wonder though. Kolento, I mean, Cipher kept the Muster for Battle in his opening hand, which is a great thing. But when you're not on the coin, it can be somewhat of a slow keep. If you're looking to curve, you know, on 1, 2, 3. I don't know in Secret Paladin if you'd mulligan it away as first player.
There's a lot of things that go into this, you know, factor. The first is what is the likelihood that my opponent plays a Reno Warlock, and if so, I need to have it preemptive board. The second is if it's Zoo, you know, how good is Muster for Battle? Turns out it's a really amazing card because it allows you to answer the board very effectively if it's full of Flame Imps and Knife Jugglers, and you're able to finally get something out preemptively on board. But like you said, he was punished. He ends up passing turns 1 and 2, and he even chooses not to reveal his hand by playing the Secret Keeper. So he's keeping a lot of things very secretively noxious.
Confess.
I put on a pair of sunglasses while I said that, by the way.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard the sunglasses.
You heard the sunglasses? You can just turn your head 2 inches to the left and look at me.
So you have the 1/1s. Like from the Secret Paladin side, I feel like because of the lack of an early game, they're not going to do as much. An Imp Gang boss, Haunted Creeper contests them pretty much 1 for 1. What Cipher is going to have to bank on is that he's going to curve more aggressively from now on than Kolento does. And because of how Zoo works nowadays, especially the Demon type, I think Kolento is going to be matching him up until the point where Challenger hits. You know, that's kind of where the cutoff happens. And Secret Paladin kind of takes over.
It's true. The entire pace of the match is completely dictated on whether or not the Warlock player can match the board or even take over the board before turn 6. And if you do control it, then you have a very strong chance to win because the Zoo can overcome through very powerful traits. Power Overwhelming, Abusive Sergeant,
which is why he didn't play the Secret Keeper earlier as well. You know, the X there, you don't want to play Secret Keeper into an Abusive and lose it unnecessarily.
Wow, what a tough decision here from Cipher. He ends up going off curve to develop the Secrets instead and really forces Zoo into an awkward position. But that weakens his plays in the following turns. And this gives an opportunity for Defender of Argus to super punish Cipher. But he doesn't have it, so it looks like he's clear from that at least.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at this from Kolento's side. If it is the Noble Sacrifice, you'd probably like the egg to pop, but at the same time, it's insurance against, if Consecration is played in Cypher's deck, insurance against that, and you've got the ability to enable it later on. And if you play the Void Caller as soon as possible, you're not only able to get the biggest minion on the board, but also guarantee some mana advantage over a few turns.
Yep. The first thing that does stick out to me is it looks like at least one of these is Avenge. So you can assume that it's most likely to be Avenge. Juggles onto the 3-3, or sorry, the 3-4, putting it to a 3-3. And Kolento's going to see that the Noble Sacrifice will pop. But that gives another juggle, by the way. And if it lands onto the 3-3, that'd be great for Kolento.
And it looks like it's going to kill a 1-1, but the way the death works could actually resurrect it, and it does. There we go. Well, that's a little weird. You could attack the 3-3 and get another juggle, with the 2/4. Maybe kill.
Depends how greedy you are. If you want to go for very safe, you kill the 4-2, but he goes for the greedy play, and this juggle could make a huge difference.
Oh, wow. Worst case scenario. Actually, the face was worse, I guess.
The face would have been worse.
Yeah,
You're correct.
I guess.
In this scenario, now you have a very good consecration.
This is really rough.
Consecration might end up getting you one last juggle, though, to
deal with.
To the minion, yeah.
So you just attack with everything first.
Oh, well, he's attacking, and it looks like his minions are alive for now.
Yeah, maybe the 4-1's dead, but it's already done its work. Wow,
that's pretty
Cipher.
important for Kolento. Being able to land that juggle onto the 4-1 changes it so that way he has just less threats onto the board. And that's where Zoo really struggles with, right? It doesn't have AoE access. Yeah, it has to use like Implosion and Mortal Coil off like a Peddler. Like that's how you actually pick a board apart.
I still remember the days of Demon Wrath, I guess, when it started transitioning to mid-range Demon Lock. That kind of made a small appearance, but...
So he chooses not to remove... Wait.
Never mind.
So Cipher chose to use his weapon and keep his 1-1 instead of keeping his Secret Keeper alive.
And losing the 1-1. Yeah, I thought keeping the 3-1 and taking 4 damage was more acceptable. But
I think maybe Cipher had a moment of indecision, or he
just wants to keep the 1-1.
No, it just 1-1 is strictly worse than the 3-1.
The question is, it's about preserving your health. If he feels like the health is relevant,
that's a good point.
that would be the other
point. But he's at 27.
Yeah,
and it's not like you're expecting a full Leroy combo or something with Faceless Manipulator. That is, first of all, that doesn't really appear in this deck, and second of all, it's unlikely given that his opponent has that many cards in hand. So I'm very surprised that he's trying to go for this super aggressive push to the face when he doesn't have Mysterious Challenger. He's 2 turns away from Tyrion, and his opponent still has an opportunity to commandingly seize back the board if his opponent had Implosion or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
that. One removal piece, Implosion. You get a coil from a Peddler would also be a big deal. Soulfire helps a lot as well, even though you lose the hand. There's a few things that a Zoo player can do in a spot like this. I mean, Defensive Argus on 2 minions is also something that's kind of annoying when you have to trade away your entire board.
I think we're looking for any 1-drop that can deal some damage here.
Yeah, Stone Tuskbore, Elven Archer, you know, something.
Abusive Sergeant would be great. Mortal Coil would be great. Honestly, even having the Voodoo Doctor here wouldn't be bad. Soulfire is pretty good.
Yeah, as it turns out, it is.
Because anything you discard from it
doesn't matter much. You get the other one in the board, I guess, on the board.
He also can choose to pop the Void Caller and then Soulfire.
You just greed up, right? Yeah, he greeds up. All right, looks like a greed play.
There's just too many inefficiencies with trading into the Shredder. That's one of Shredder's biggest strengths. The fact that it does so much damage, it's so inefficient, and you might be back exactly where you started off with if like a 3-2 or a 4-1 pops out, you know.
Kolento here is going to... I mean, he does have quite a bit of burst in hand, but nothing to hit 27. Cipher, however, because he's curving out with Tyrion on the following turns.
It's true.
Cipher, I mean, if there's no taunt from Kolento, we're talking Defensive Argus, Void Callers. If none of these come out, then this could be Cipher...
Yeah, Cipher is getting closer and closer. He's just slowly pincering Kolento off the board, and Kolento needs a huge swing.
That is a pretty good one, to be honest, but not quite exact. I mean, he can go Aim-Gang Boss, trade the Void Caller, Defensive Argus, and have a very good curve.
Ends up going face here because he needs Void Caller to have some value. A lot of people think like, oh, you can play both demons, but you generally want Void Caller to be able to pull something out. The worst case is if he puts a second Void Caller onto the board and trades the first one in.
Yeah, the other one.
Then the other one doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah, because I mean, if he plays Aim-Gang Boss and trades away the Void Caller into the Shredder, he's making the trade for Cipher.
Yes.
Which is not something you have to do. Now, the Tyrion is going to have to be played. There's really no alternative. The question is, how do you trade with this board, and what are you?
Well, the immediate thing is to see what's behind the curtain, the purple curtain.
The end is coming.
Well, that's the Shredder side, but looking at the Void Caller could be his biggest
I mean,
fear.
Mana Wraith would be...
Oh, man, if a Mal'Ganis comes out here, you're so sad, because then the 1/1s are buffed.
Mana Addict,
Mana Addict is okay.
It's pretty dangerous.
You have some secrets that can buff it. every secret does 2 damage. Oh! That Iron Beak Owl is going to silence Tyrion and wipe away all of his effects.
This is Kolento just dumping his entire hand if he wants to. He can kill the Tyrion, kill everything on the board, and have it.
The only thing that will make this better Noxious is if he taps into Mal'Ganis.
Mal'Ganis, that's the only thing left for him to find.
That would be
even Doomguard.
Almost unfair.
Yeah.
That would be just ridiculous.
Is that it?
Nah.
It's going to get discarded if Soulfire ends up being played.
That's actually a big deal that he can't develop any minion beside it. Oh, poor Cipher. Just like, really, mate?
I guess you keep the Soulfire for when you play Lothar.
Blimey!
What's that? I didn't sign up for this.
Poor Cipher, man. Oh, he's left with just a secret.
He's got a juggler. You can say hi.
Yeah, the juggler hitting 2-1 is his best bet here.
Yeah.
If he's the juggler and hits the Iron Beak Owl, it's not too bad that the Avenger is able to protect one of the minions.
Exactly.
But
wow, okay.
Kolento does have Soulfire.
And was it top that any demon does, Dr. Boom does?
Wow.
Oh, wow, unbelievable.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, definitely not
This gives him perfect use of his hand, because one of the big challenges of discard cards is that if you discard one, you might discard the other, but in this case, you can use both.
Yeah, and Cipher shaking his head realizes, yeah, this is not looking good at all.
And a Soulfire to top it off. That is bad news, Bears. Kolento with the sarcastic sorry.
And Challenger comes out to salvage this game. Never mind.
A lot of people are roaring to the booms, but he didn't even need booms.
Secret Keeper!
Poetic justice. She'll never tell, and she'll never win this game.
She'll never do anything. She'll never live to tell anything. That's it.
Jeez. And Kolento with authority is going to slam stuff. He has 1 damage off lethal. He can also tap here just for the abusive sergeant chance to win the game.
Yeah, immediately. But you can just play Dr. Boom, don't tap. Why not? Doesn't really matter too much at this stage.
I don't think there's a 9 damage card that can come off of Cipher's hand.
Holy Wrath!
It would be Holy Wrath.
Into a 9+. Like, I don't even know what could...
It has to be Divine Favor.
Okay.
No, for Divine Favor is only 1 card.
Yeah. Holy Wrath into Holy Wrath. Did he have 10 mana? Because that could be
it's a possibility. That'd be really wild, but I don't really think that's a possibility. So Kolento takes a much-needed Game 2 victory, tying up the series 1-1. And that's going to put us in this position where Cipher has to play Secret Paladin again.
Against
and Kolento has Rogue. Now, I know Cipher's a really big control fan. You know, he likes to play control decks, and I really wonder if he's going to play the Reno Warlock here. And if so, Kolento should play the Paladin, because that might be his best chance against everything win rate-wise.
I mean, against Secret Paladin, the Murloc Paladin isn't half as bad as it looks. Like, it's tough to really get out of the early game.
No, it's not too bad at all.
Exactly, because
you have Pyromancers.
It's kind of a coin flip to win the game, just because Pyro wipes off, every single muster player.
True. And you even have, so there's actually like a lot of sick stuff you can pull off with the Murloc Paladin against Secret Paladin. Looks like Kolento goes for the Rogue and ends up sniping the Paladin deck, and this is exactly what Kolento wants. Not to mention he's also on the coin, and he has SI Agent and Fan of Knives. This is a very, very powerful start for Kolento. Cypher's already in trouble. He doesn't even have the immediate curve that he wants. Normally, if you face a Rogue, the best way to face off is like Secret Keeper into mini bot.
I mean, you almost can't, though, curve. You can't curve in a way that Rogue can't answer. I think overall, Rogue is one of the classes that's best equipped to deal with the toolkit of Secret Valley. Because they do have Backstabs, SI, Fan of Knives. They're kind of built for this. It's kind of rough to get ahead of the board, especially when the Rogue is on the coin. It's really difficult for the Paladin.
I like this. Dr. Boom and Rogue is something that has bounced around. I know some people were saying Dr. Boom is a little too clunky. You have a lot of high-cost minions or high-cost cards, and you just want to be able to tempo onto the board with preparations and coins and whatnot. However, Dr. Boom is really insane if you're able to play it for initiative, which is something Rogue is very good at capitalizing, because you have an opportunity to play Dr. Boom and then prep Blade Flurry or prep Sap or something like that.
That's the one thing I think, initially when Oil came up, one of the issues was getting to the point where you could play Dr. Boom. But nowadays it tends to happen more and more.
Oh boy, and this is something that you love to see as a rogue player. A fan of knives, dancer, and muster for battle to completely, efficiently swipe the tempo. He even got backstab.
Rep SI with a fan of knives. This is as good as it's going to get, right?
That's exactly as good as it gets. You're correct.
Cycle the draw. Cipher has to have a weapon. Like a true server champion needs to be found.
My goodness.
Seems like everybody here is cheering for the Secret Paladin losing. I don't know if
also because Kolento is Ukrainian and
I guess
Belarus, they stick to their homies. They speak Russian here, and Kolento, one of the most popular players from this region, if not the most.
Yeah, I'd say so. Kind of hard to imagine now. The
Wow,
Tomb Pillager
a 4-drop
list.
on curve.
Yeah, this Shredder contest. So you trade, maybe you get a good backstab.
I don't know if you want to.
Would you backstab hit and maybe play the second?
Yeah, backstab the first half of the Shredder.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best. There is an alternative to see what comes out first.
Oh, goodness.
It's okay. It's about the same as backstabbing anyways. You can imagine this mini-bot has 3 health instead of 2. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes
a lot of people are like, nah, come on, another Paladin card. It's like, guys, relax. It's just a 2-3.
It could be Argent
Oh,
Protector.
it's just not the backstab.
Wants to keep a combo enabler possibly for
it's true.
Something.
But he leaves the possibility of this getting Blessing of Kings. And I guess that would be okay because he has enough health to trade anyways. But that's one of the things I'm always careful about. You don't want to leave Paladin with any minions on board, generally speaking.
Yeah, I think the SI is the reasoning behind it. Because like, if that happens, then he can go for Dr. Boom, like coin, Dr. Boom, and then hit the 6-1.
Oh,
with
so he wants
his
it to
face.
die.
Yeah, he kind of wants it to take 5 from the Tomb Pillager, and then he just takes an extra 6 from the mini bot, and then plays double. Play Dr.
That's probably what he's thinking along the lines of like in a good case scenario, I can kill off my Tomb Pillager and
play Dr.
I can play Dr. Boom and deal with the board.
Yeah, sounds like a thing Druid would say.
And Cipher ends up going for it. He plays the Conch Hammer, allowing his opponent to get 2 coins with a backstab, and that's almost a board clear.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Wow!
For the Blade Flurry in the following turn.
Dude,
Kolento.
Cypher's like, wait, what?
What's
2
happening
coins.
here?
Did he just innervate?
Is he sprinting? Nope. Good thing Keeper of Ultimon could keep that in check.
Kind of.
Sort of, yeah.
Because he still has to trade in some health here. Oh.
Well, when you think it was over.
Well, it's never over till it's over, especially with a deck like this. Cipher draws the Mysterious Challenger. Now, if he draws Mysterious Challenger, he almost certainly will try to keep the mini-bot alive because he wants to diversify his assets as opposed to killing off the mini-bot and then everything lands on the Mysterious Challenger and then you just sap it. And then it's like, well,
yeah, exactly.
This sucks. But the problem is if you diversify your buffs with Avenge, then Blade Flurry gets much better.
So maybe like using Keeper leaves you a good turn 7 with Redemption to Challenger, thinning your deck perhaps.
Yeah.
Or using your Secrets, that is, as effectively as possible. I don't know how you'd play this turn. I think it's all a little bit difficult to figure out.
So he's just trying to neuter the threat.
Yeah.
And the boom bots clean up just a little bit here.
Pretty good. Nicely done by Cipher here. He did use up 2 coins for the Rogue, so...
Oh, and the sap just got drawn, so Kolento would have destroyed that Mysterious Challenger because he would have been able to attack into it, flurry, and sap it, and then boom for 7 to the face.
Yeah.
So that is a very big moment here for Cipher. What an important decision, because Secret Paladin is not the hardest deck in the world, but you can make some pretty mistakes that it's a very common trap to fall into. Like, oh, I have 6 mana. I'm going to play Mysterious Challenger. And it's like, well, he just destroys you because Rogue is great at seizing the tempo.
Yeah. So one of the things as well that that Kolento is doing here is he's forcing Cipher to be the one making the trades, which when you're Secret Paladin, that's the exact opposite of what you're trying to do. You're trying to force the opponent to trade ineffectively into your Noble Sack, into your Divine Shields. But in this case, Cipher...
Oh, interesting.
Has trouble dealing with this. Wow. All
so
right.
Cipher pulls 3 secrets.
Yeah.
And the redemption here is another one in hand. So he's playing a secret light deck, which a lot of times when you play Mysterious Challenger, you're pulling the 5 secrets.
I see a lot of people do like a few cuts, but that kind of changed when the deck got refined.
Right.
So I'm not sure.
And we saw that, early game he curved decently. He didn't play a lot of secrets in hand. So I wonder how many he's running. Is he running the 8 variant where you play all 5 and you play like a couple of extra ones with Noble Sacrifice, Avenge, etc.? That has a lot of power, but you do have more capable of dead draws here. So it looks like we have the normal 4 that we come to expect, right? Avenge, Noble Sacrifice, Competitive Spirit.
Yeah, Competitive Spirit,
Redemption.
exactly. Redemption. The thing is...
No Repentance.
Yeah, no Repentance in the deck, but that's usually... I remember Cipher being a huge advocate for like the Belcher type of Secret Valley. I mean, it's pretty common to see Belcher, but like a very defensive one is what I remember seeing him play the most. So this may be exactly it, which is why there's no room for the 10 secrets.
This is almost certainly gonna force Kolento to probably sap.
Yeah, I mean a 9/8 into turn 8. If you
pray
sap him now,
Tyrion.
yeah, I mean you do have to make a prayer once in a while.
Yeah, go face with the 3/3. Just hope that you can just handle whatever comes out next.
Kolento keeping the 3/3 alive. He says, if I win, it's gonna be on the back of this little guy.
Yeah, if he draws a single oil, that would be burst. What a draw from
Insane
Cipher
draw
off the
from
top.
Cipher.
That Tyrion Fordring is so powerful here because he just used his first sap, and Kolento has almost no cards left.
He has 2 sprints, maybe only the one. I imagine he's got 2.
He's got 2 sprints.
I imagine he's got 2 with prep, sprint, sap. So he's got 3 outs, let's say, to maybe find a good answer.
Yeah, usually what you start cutting is your 5 drops when you play Dr. Boom. That's what Mr. Yagut does and a few other rogue players.
Yeah, it's hard to cut any card draw. Oh,
wow,
nicely done.
Huge draw for Kolento. He was running so low on gas. And it's not that this sprint will draw him the immediate kill, but it refills his hand when Rogue would just be top decking like a single Eviscerate right now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the sprints,
big.
It's funny how they were unplayed back when Miracle existed because there was no purpose to it. But now that you have no way to actually refill your hand in this deck, it's kind of a mandatory thing. I love this. This is...
So he's in a very interesting spot.
I would just deadly Edwin.
Edwin?
Yeah, you just let the Tyrion do what he wants.
Pop a shield.
Yeah.
Ugh, sucks. But you gotta trade that 3/3 for the Divine Shield.
Competitive Spirit hits a 7/7. Doesn't really matter too much. Right, it's still not trading with your Edwin. If they
no,
want
it's
to.
actually the best case scenario. Whoa! Lotheb off the top. Shuts down spells. Well, not every spell.
Not Sap, right?
Not Sap, not Flurry. But it effectively makes sure that Rogue is not doing any shenanigans. He already used 2 preps, so you're like, well, it's not going to be like a big combo denial. Maybe Mysterious Challenge is more powerful. But I don't know how many secrets is remaining in Cypher's deck.
There's no redemption left, we know that much. 1 Avenge is already triggered, so there's no Avenge. So it's Noble Sac and maybe a second copy of Competitive Spirit with...
No, I think it's just Noble Sacrifice.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, right?
At this point.
Yeah.
It pulls 1 card from his deck. And the Lotheb is, honestly, more impactful to setting up a 2-turn lethal here.
So what do you think about trying to kill... Like, if you play Lotheb, you're worried about Sap. What about just... killing the Edwin with Consec?
No, the Consecration
way
is
too
the
much
lethal.
damage.
The Consecration is the lethal.
Is the lethal you're looking for? Okay.
So what you do is you hit the face, you put your opponent on 12, and assuming Tyrion dies, then you have 11 damage plus a Consecration in hand. Oh no, there's Avenge. So
there's Avenge,
you have even more.
With the weapons. Blade Flurry can hit for 4, but that is no help.
I think that's it. I don't think of a way Kolento can really stabilize.
He has to take the Tyrion to the face, but then he dies to...
He just dies to the weapon.
Yeah.
All right, well, Kolento tried his best here, but the Rogue
Actually, wait, he has got lethal with a... Oh, we missed lethal, Frodan.
Oh,
the 4 damage.
Yeah, well, you're right. I forgot that was the Blade Flurry damage. Sap the casters.
Yeah, Sap the casters.
Yeah.
You can Blade Flurry us at this stage.
So the big thing that Kolento was really worried about was another redemption, but...
Yeah, no, Tyrion coming back to life would have been the end of it.
Good catch, Noxus. I missed it. Big fail on my part.
I kind of missed it, too.
I'll call it a 2016 rust, so to speak.
Yeah, it's been the holidays, right? So you kind of haven't
It's my fault. I dragged this down. I was like, oh, it's over, and you believed me, so...
It's cool. I believed it, too, for a while.
Lesson learned, don't listen to Frodan. Kolento's a god.
Yeah, just watch him play. I mean, everybody's still cheering here. They're about to see Kolento maybe go up 3-1 over Cipher.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
It comes down to the Murloc.
Murloc Paladin. You know, we were really counting the life of the pressure from the Secret Paladin.
Yes.
And now that the Secret Paladin, we didn't really expect, like, oh, Secret Paladin's, like, taking damage to his own face against the Tomb Pillager. Like, oh, yeah, like, he's trading a lot. It's like, it's not a big deal. And no, he just ends up dying. Really cool stuff here. Kolento ends up going for the Murloc Paladin here because this is his last deck.
Yeah, he's got to go
Cipher,
3-1.
the key to this victory for Cipher is making sure that he doesn't get his board swept away. And the fact that Kolento has a Doomsayer on turn 2 already spells
Doom.
Potential disaster. Ooh. It spells potential disaster.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's going to coin Knife Juggler here, then Kolento plays Doomsayer, and he has no chance to actually kill us, so he has to develop Seekers instead.
Yeah, it makes it really tricky, I think. I think the Doomsayer is being played in that deck. Oh, well, that's also an option.
That's actually better.
Yeah.
Much better. Because now you can use the Doomsayer in a more opportune moment.
Yeah, I mean, if Muster for Battle comes out, on turn 3 and nothing else is there, you drop the Doomslayer and let them deal with it.
So right now you can't do anything. You just have to develop secrets.
Yeah.
That gives Kolento full free reign to develop Muster for Battle.
Yeah, and then set up a really good Stalin Vigil for himself.
Oh, and you know what's even worse?
Go.
He gets to hit the Noble Sacrifice for nothing. It's just basically Arcane Shot. It hit the face for 2.
Oh no. I mean,
this is very bad. Not over yet by any means.
I like the chances of Murloc Paladin becoming a top tier deck. Like
now, we'll look at it. Now he plays Muster for Battle, but that means Solemn Vigil also goes for free next turn.
Yeah, and lo and behold, Wild Pyro is also a thing. Yeah.
So he trades this in. He's going to see the Avenge.
And then he's gonna.
He can also
attack and then play
Pyromancer.
Exactly for the full. I think it's a full clear at that stage.
It is a full clear.
Because you do end up dealing full damage.
Okay, he doesn't want to take 4 damage. That's perfectly fine. You can play Doomsayer here as well.
I mean, he's got equalities. You keep the Pyro with equality to deal with the Challenger turns, the stuff that you really can't handle. So,
one thing to also point out is that Kolento was one of the players to start putting Muster for Battle into the Murloc Paladin. Originally, the first time we saw Murloc Paladin with Anything Can Happen was through Dog. Dog was playing Cult Master and a lot of like interesting cards like Zombie Chow, like stuff to like normally control Paladin, but with an Anything finisher.
I like that.
And then Neville's from Root took the deck and started putting in like a lot of just anti-aggro stuff, like all the heals, and then he also put like the Doomsayers that you see. And then Kolento took it from there and did his Kolento magic where he put like a couple of cards in and all of a sudden it works like perfectly.
Yeah.
And one of them is Muster for Battle. Like the fact that you have that Light's Justice weapon is so big against Secret Paladin because you get to activate Noble Sacrifice before the Pyro quality against the Mysterious Challenger. It gives you so much flexibility and board control against the 1/1s.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Solemn Vigil can be used with it also gives it so much potential. Like, it's just a deck that feels very cohesive right now. I want to see what people end up putting on top of what already is in the deck to ensure that it works even better than it does right now. Like, it's really impressive to see this weird combo deck come up.
Pretty good draw here, being able to toss in the Peacekeeper and the Murloc Warleader gives you some definitive board control here. I wonder if he's tempted to play another Doomsayer while he has a chance to, but he also gives up his board preemptively, so I do like the 6 mana play, like using 2/3 drops in order to use your mana very efficiently.
I mean, it's going to be very hard for the Paladin to answer 2 3/3s and the Belcher. Even if he plays the Kings, let's say on Lothar, all he's killing is a 3/5, and you still have the 1/2 slime and more damage on the back of it.
Yeah, he's got board control against a deck that excels
at taking
like board control in spades. That's what this deck does. I mean, look, he's got some of his best curve. Imagine this was his opening hand. This is like, well, it was nice knowing your Kolento, but this is a position where he's super far behind, and the moment he establishes board control, not only is Consecration a threat, but he knows Pyromancer exists, and that gives a lot of combination potential as well.
Kolento still needs to draw, because the thing we're talking about, he's got board control and whatnot, but if it goes away for even 1 second and he doesn't find card draw, then it might just not be enough to seal the game, because the tempo Cipher can get at this point is still not negligible. So we'll have to see if off the top come a massive amount of answers, because Cipher can still repopulate the board for now. It's not impossible.
Yeah,
it's gonna be rough,
everything
though.
is so weak. It just very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Knife Juggler gets completely tossed away, and then all your 1/1s that you're going to summon with Muster for battle doesn't do much. You're going to really hope that these juggles land and kill something. Just like straight up 3 damage, kill something.
Nope, that's not quite it. There's 2 more shots, right?
The pepper
After
spray.
this one. No, next turn he would have been fine, but
Painful. This hopefully kills a 3/1.
Oh!
That's pretty big.
Hammer of Wrath that also puts stuff on the board.
Not bad at all, but Kolento is still in firm control here. How does he actually choose to do this? Does he feel like it's time to clear the board completely? I have to imagine that he still wants to hold on to equality.
I think so too. I feel like True Silver might, come out to remove the juggler, unless he wants to maximize his weapon value. Just use the Lights Justice, then just play Doomsayer behind the Belcher, or play nothing, and let everything come out.
Belcher, I like that.
Equality. Yeah,
it's a very astute observation.
This is forcing Cipher in a really weird spot where he doesn't want to play anything, but he doesn't want to play nothing.
Attack to the face, because everything has to go into it. I thought he maybe would consider attacking the Secret Keeper in case he started buffing it up, but he realizes that this is probably enough. And Cipher doesn't have enough mana. If he had enough mana, he could use Keeper of Voldemort onto the Doomsayer and kill it with the True Silver Champion.
But he's just short of damage and or mana in this spot. Well, unfortunate for him, but at the same time, it is why Doomsayer's in that deck, right?
He'd be off, actually.
If you had 1 more mana?
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to get to the Belcher efficiently enough. Because I was counting the fact that he could swing with his own weapon, but he can't. He doesn't have Wind Fury on the weapon, right?
Right, so he'd have to attack with the three minions. I guess it would be like 1 off again. Same idea, yeah.
So, looks like he does it, and I like this. Something that people are like, well, why did Cipher just do that? He didn't hero power because he doesn't want to give another token to die for that Solemn Vigil to get an extra value. And he also traded some of his own tokens as well. Because one of the things that is really hard to think about when you're first playing this deck is that Doomsayer dies on their turn.
Yeah.
Therefore, Solemn Vigil gets all the value that Doomsayer kills off of. One thing that is nice is that Cipher has seen that Kolento has used all of his charge from Light's Justice, so if he ever picks up Noble Sacrifice, it actually gets some pretty decent value stopping a True Silver Champion. However, Kolento is also at that threshold where if he picks up 1, anything can happen. He might just kill Cipher because he can put him down to like 10 HP with the weapon hits and then burst him with just whatever Murlocs that came out of his deck.
Yeah, one thing to note as well is that Kolento at this stage is looking for Murlocs, yes, but anything can happen does just as well. And with Lay on Hands in the deck, Heal Bots in the deck, the fact that he's already got a board clear set up, he can probably wait even 1 more turn.
Is Cipher considering killing this 1/1 with the True Silver Champion? Talk about a hammer killing a gnat.
Yeah, it's like Solemn Vigil. Is it that big of a threat? The thing what it does is it removes a shield, and which means Consecration's better, Power Equality's better. So if you're attacking into it, you're trading 1 of your chargers for 1 of his.
Yeah, and if you're Kolento, you almost certainly do want to use some of these equalities because, or maybe even just a Consecration.
Oh, hi.
Not a bad draw. Actually, Consecration now becomes much better alternative than just using the Pyromancer. Although you still can do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you can kill the 3/4, kill the 2/2, see what the 3/3 does. You can probably let it sit there for a turn.
Sure. It's all good. There's a lot of options here.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you do want to generally use your cards because Lay on Hands would then punish you pretty harshly if you hog too many cards. Did I say Lay on Hands? I meant Divine Favor.
Exactly.
You're right.
It's fine. It's the same card. Same card.
It does the same thing, but 1 is 3 mana, 1 is 8 mana.
This is so sad.
So he ends up using this. I don't mind because he still has another Equality Consecration.
And Lethal is looking really likely very soon.
Yep. And one thing I do like about this is that Kolento gets to put on pressure, and he also is, dumping his hand so that Divine Favor doesn't really help draw cards here. Ooh, weak draw here from Cipher, and he also is probably thinking about swinging with the weapon this turn, killing the Murloc.
With the Avenge, however, I guess this looks a bit better. The thing is, turn 10's coming up next turn. You're thinking to yourself, well, I'm probably going to get anything can happen anyway.
Yep.
So I might as well try to see if I can get this board before it happens.
Absolutely.
Giving it a shot. Well, it's looking really difficult for Cipher. Top decks do exist that help him out, though. A lot of them, in fact.
Healbot actually not that good of a draw here for Kolento. We're like, even getting more things, but you actually just want anything can happen.
Yeah, anyway.
Like right now, that's what Kolento's searching for. And if it's not anything can happen, it's card draw, so that you can get anything can happen.
Pretty much. Because you're looking at Consecration clearing the 1/1s here, if he wants to use it, which he doesn't have to, but he can if he wants. And then you've got a full board clear against something like Dr. Boom. You can deal with Challenger if you're Kolento.
2 Keepers of Voldemort. Okay. I mean, Keeper of Voldemort is a fantastic card, and I know that a lot of players were singing praises about it. I know Firebat, for example, is a huge fan of Keeper of Voldemort and Secrets Paladin. For a while, people were running 1, but I guess nowadays it's common to run 2 because it's just so powerful.
I mean, I think when people realized it wasn't just +2/+2 to a friendly minion, and it was a kill a Deathlord or kill a Doomsayer, it became a lot more...
well, it was more that for a while, Secret Paladins were running what I like to call the 4-drop sampler.
Oh, goodness.
Yes, it's a very popular appetizer in the Paladin restaurant, in the Well-Met restaurant.
Yes.
They have really good manners there. They always greet you with emotes.
Well fed.
You're so funny. You have like 1 4-drop of everything. 1
Yeah,
True Silver, 1
absolutely,
Blessing of Kings,
exactly.
1 Keeper, 1 Consecration. And it's like, well, slap it in there. Are you a 4-drop? Are you pretty good value?
That's pretty much
Go
what
on
they
in.
did all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like Keeper just reinforced that turn 4 reliance of Paladin. But at the
Gosh.
same time, it kind of works out.
It's terrible for Cipher. He's going to Hero Power and play Competitive Spirit. I wonder if he will do the 3/3 into the 1/1, probably just to get the most value off the Competitive Spirit. But that, like, really shows that it's Competitive Spirit. It's like,
It's kind of a desperation play for Cipher. I mean, he's always making desperation plays at this point because it's always off the top.
A Dr. Boom to push for the lethal chance here.
Cipher needs to pick up. Well, actually, I can't really think.
He has to
We've
trade
seen
everything.
2 keepers,
He has to trade everything
exactly
in order to not die.
And Kolento
then
might not even
he's in
allow
the
it.
best spot.
So.
Like, at this point, Cipher needs Tyrion. That's his
the only draw.
thing. Because even if he has Mysterious Challenger, he just dies.
And mini-bot.
Cipher
No
drew
help.
so terribly. The last 5-6 turns, it's been absolute, like, crap.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the actual word I was thinking. It was just terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, for the most part, Secret Paladin is... Like, mid-range Paladin beats Secret Valley.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Murloc Valley is also joining in to the whole Paladin, counters Paladin.
And there it is, Kolento. I'm not missing this lethal, Noxious. Kolento's going to take game number 4 and go on into a 1-0 record into his group. Very well done.
Yeah, I thought he might want to hide the Murkai tech, but I guess it's too obvious. So that's going to be the series in favor of the Ukrainian player on almost home ground.
This set is awesome. Just look at it. The armor, the trophy, the tavern set with the candles and everything.
There's actually someone in there.
Oh, we have people watching. Those are the admins, making sure that they verify the deck lists.
Absolutely. And if you,
wow,
if you
they
cheat...
went all out for this tournament.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Shout out to our casters, Nyria on the right, looking good, as well as our host there. I never had the pleasure of meeting her.
Alicia?
Yeah.
She's
looks great. They're a much better looking pair than we are right now.
Yeah, I feel like we're just gonna ragtag band.
She has like a suit jacket and a bow tie, and look at us. We're just like, I got my like 6 o'clock shadow coming in here. Whatever I can scruff as a middle-aged Asian male.
Man. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Is it racist if I say it? Probably not, right? Since I know you.
Oh wait, we're actually looking at the Russian stream.
I was looking at the players, just having fun and discussing the game.
You were looking
at the stream.
Kolento's a male, not a female.
Where's Alicia? I don't see any grill.
There's a Russian stream going on. There's a Chinese stream going on above us as well, guys. But that's going to wrap up our second series of the day. Kolento is doing an interview, I believe, in Russian. And Russian. Duh.
That's
the best I can do.
Yeah, that's fine.
The Russian accent is very attractive to me. I think it sounds really sexy.
I bought a Zarya shirt from Overwatch.
I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah,
because of Zarya?
Is
that your type of woman?
Sorry, I'm married.
You like big domineering women?
Absolutely.
Is that what it is? I like it.
Goodness.
I like it.
Yeah, I like admirable. It's kind of my type.
You like your women from the dark iron tribes.
Yes.
Is that what's going on?
Oh God, don't.
We need a
for
Photoshop
days.
of that, please.
So that'll conclude the second match of the day.
That's right.
We will be going on to the third match afterwards. Again, same group. We've seen already the 4 players play their first match.
right.
First winner was Zhaobu, I think. Xiaobu?
Xiaobu or
Xiaobu,
Nicholas,
right.
2014 BlizzCon finalist from China.
Yeah.
He defeated Dog, but we're going to be going through group stage. So just because
Yeah,
Dog lost one
exactly.
time does not mean he's eliminated at all. I know he's a big fan favorite of a lot of players. As well as Kolento is going to be able to make another reappearance on stream in just a little bit. But we're going to take a break, guys. Thanks so much for watching. You're watching the StarLadder Series Finals. We'll be right back.
Taking steps towards your door. I hadn't let myself be fooled.